Active Management are proud to be the premier sponsor of the Fitness Business Podcast. For everyone this week in the FBP family, we have a free blueprint to select champions so you can get your team culture hustle mode on. Just go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active.
Welcome everyone to the Fitness Business Podcast, and I am thrilled to say you are listening to our 100th show. Every week for almost 2 years now, we have been joined by the most incredible guests, leaders from the fitness industry and experts in their field, and today is no exception. In fact, we even took this week's show to a whole new level because not only did we record the interview for the podcast, but we also broadcast the entire show as it happened on Facebook Live. Now, for those of you that tuned in, you will know that our special guest this week is none other than the internationally recognized performance coach, personal trainer, author, speaker, and the man who was ranked one of the top 100 most influential people in health and fitness, Todd Durkin. Now, without a doubt, this interview goes down as one of my all-time favorites. Todd is known for his energy and for his enthusiasm. But what I learned during the interview was that his success is no accident. He is an accomplished and passionate fitness business professional. He's genuine and he truly cares about his team and his customers. During the show, you'll hear him talk about the importance of systems in your business, how to empower your team to deliver exceptional customer experiences, why building your email list is a game changer for your business, and the role of social media in building your personal brand. Also, make sure that you stick around after the interview for a very important announcement. Are you interested in increasing your center's income and your trainer's income from small group training? Tribe Team Training is the new way to get more members engaged in small group training and paying extra. Click the Tribe Team Training link in the show notes or go to tribeteamtraining.com.au/podcast for your free formula to see how much income you can make from small group training. We're about to head into the main interview. As mentioned, we stream this on Facebook Live, so we're going to jump in just as things are getting started. I'm going to just start off by, first of all, telling our audience a little bit more about you, because I know your guys know everything about you. But first of all, for the listeners of the Fitness Business Podcast, Todd is an internationally recognized performance coach, a personal trainer, an author, and a speaker who motivates, educates, and inspires people worldwide, and you're about to find out why. He is the owner of Fitness Quest 10, which we're going to talk about, and that's in San Diego. And he was recently ranked one of the top 100 most influential people in health and fitness. And in addition to all of that, Todd, you've just launched your latest book, The Wow Book, 52 Ways to Motivate Your Mind, Inspire Your Soul, and Create Wow in Your Life. How's that going?
It's going wow.
Yeah.
Wowful.
It's wow.
Great. It's wow. And you know what the best thing, Chantel, about the book is just the great stories I get from people around the world that have read it. And, just they have been impacted greatly from the stories. The bottom line with that wow book is they're very short chapters with action steps. And the bottom line with anything, when you dream big and you get fulfilled with spirit and motivation, inspiration, is that you take action. And the wow book has certainly motivated quite a few folks to take action in their lives to make sure both in their personal lives and their professional lives, they're living their best life possible.
That is sensational. Well, congratulations on the success already of the Wow Book. Now, we like to start our podcast interviews off with what we call the Pre-Call Quickfire 5. Now, for today, I've got the Pre-Call Quickfire 4 for you. Are you ready for these 4 questions?
I'm ready. Fire away.
Okay. Tell everyone, why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? Number one, because I get such fulfillment and satisfaction trying to change people's lives. The bottom line, why I do what I do, is because it is my purpose. I've given a lot of just discovery and through both many wins and many losses and trials and tribulations in my own life. My purpose is very clear, and it's to motivate and inspire people to greatness every day and to create impact in people's lives. So it is my purpose. I know that probably sounds rhetorical, but I am definitely purpose driven.
And what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. I'm going to go back and say it's trust your gut. Trust your gut. And this is at age 20, I learned this because I was at college in William and Mary in Virginia, and I was like a government major, a business major, and I finally listened to my oldest sister of 5 sisters. I've got 5 sisters. She said, trust your gut with what you want to study. And I had fallen in love with an anatomy class and a kinesiology class. And I was like, my gut says that I want to go into kinesiology. But, in the 90s, in the early 90s, there weren't as many options as there are today in this great field of ours. So I trusted my gut. And, that's something that still, when I'm doing interviews here at Fitness Quest 10 for our staff, when I got to hire someone, fire someone, when I'm interviewing clients or out on the road, like trusting your gut, your intuition, listening to that little voice inside, I say would be a really important piece of advice.
Couldn't agree more. And tell us, what's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
A personal habit, I would say, is discipline. I've got pretty good discipline. When I want to do something, I can get uber focused and get chunks of time. So I'd say that's a habit. Like, for example, a habit is my early morning routine. And I am very disciplined about doing my early morning routine. And if I don't do it, Chantel, I am all over the place. I'm scattered. I don't feel like I had a very productive day. And when I do it, I'm locked and loaded, and I get a lot of good things done. So I'd say discipline with my early morning routine is something that I do quite well.
Can you give us a sneak peek as to what that early morning routine involves?
Wow. All right. The sneak peek. Well, I've got 5 a.m. I'm up. I got between 5 and 7 is my window of time. And first thing typically is quiet time. I journal for 10 minutes. That's my magic number, 10 minutes of journaling time. And part of that's just sitting and listening and praying about what I need to do for the day to live my purpose, and anything I'm trying to overcome, anything I'm challenged with right now in my life is to giving that up to God and my faith in God. So prayer to me is very important. And if I don't start off the day in gratitude, man, it's like everything else is just doing it. I'm going through the paces. So to share personally with you, the first 10 minutes is very, very important. Then I'm usually out on my early morning cardio with my dog, my golden retriever. He needs some exercise too. So I get him out, and that's where I typically listen to podcasts. So like your podcasts are a great way to get into the mindset of whether it be you want business advice or you want leadership or personal growth or spirituality, whatever you're really facing or want to grow in that day is who you would listen to in your podcast. So 4 to 5 times a week, I'm definitely listening to podcasts, and then I get my workout in my gym and get after it for another 30, 40 minutes on that. By 7 o'clock, I got to be wrapped and ready to go because the kids are up, ready to go to school, breakfast on the table, and I got to see my wife and kids and all that stuff. So that 5 to 7 o'clock window is my time. It's that holy hour, as I call it, and it's an important time to set the day in motion.
You know what, Todd, I know that wasn't part of the questions, but I really appreciate you answering it and sharing that with us.
Of course.
Now, the last one for you now is what's one book that you'd recommend and why?
One book I'd recommend right now, beside any of mine, would be The Tools of the Titans by Timothy Ferriss. I just finished reading this book, and I love the book. I'm a Tim Ferriss fan. I like his style. And the book Tools of the Titans really looks at some of the top folks in the world as far as not only athletes and executives, but high performers and the habits that they do on a regular basis. And although it's a big book, it's a long book, and it might take you a while to get through. Kind of like the Wow book, you can read it in very short, 3, 4, 5 page chapters and come back to any time. You can hop over to any page at any point. And there's just some great nuggets in there, really things you can extract out and apply immediately into your life.
That's a great recommendation. Thank you so much for that. Now, you mentioned earlier Fitness Quest 10, your business, and when you launched that back in January 2000, no doubt you had a lot of goals for the business. Now, we're 17 years on now. I'm guessing there must have been a few big challenges along the way. Do you think that you could share with us perhaps one major challenge that you faced and what you learnt from that?
Wow, I only one, huh? I could be here all day on all the challenges I faced. See, some people think that, it's just like you had all this success off the bat and it was easy. and that stuff. Man, no one ever sees the blood, sweat, and tears that you go through when you're starting a business out. And it's a lot of time. And even if you have a business plan, like I did not do a business plan. I had no business plan, no money, no clients when I started a business. Not a good idea. I don't recommend that for any industry, let alone fitness. But some things I had learned and faced. Fortunately, I had negotiated 3 months rent free in the beginning because I had to build up a clientele and get some cash flow coming in. One of the biggest mistakes I made, though, looking back, if you want to call it a mistake, I think they're all learning lessons, was I was always selling me instead of our system. So within about 6 months, we got really busy. I was doing 40 to 50 sessions a week, and we had to grow our team. But what happened is everyone wanted me, because I was always training and I was always about, hey, I can help you out and I can do this for you. And I was a one-man show. At 6 months into my business, I had to really try to grow and clone myself, so to speak, or grow my team. And that was a tough transition of 6 to 12 months of trying to let my clients and members know, like, they don't need me. I've got a team. And a lot of my time and energy now is invested in trying to grow my team so they can help you be your best. So that was something I learned early on, was like, don't sell me, sell the system. Sell the system that you're going to use on that. And another thing is surround yourself with people that are stronger than you in other areas. For example, I love training. My passion is in the trenches. I love being in the trenches, training my clients, my athletes, teaching classes, and bringing that experience to life. In the beginning, especially, I didn't like the business aspect. I didn't really enjoy going into the numbers and the accounting and the bookkeeping. And I wanted to know what was coming in. I hated looking at what's going out, right? Like, oh my gosh, the expenses are so high. And typically the expenses are double what you think they are, and the cash flow is going to be half of what you project it to be. So I was working my butt off, and I eventually hired a general manager. And I made the mistake early on of hiring a manager that was really good with people, but also didn't like looking at numbers. Mm-hmm. Well, I wasn't a numbers guy at the time, and I wasn't attuned to that. And we got ourselves into some real financial challenges early on because we didn't have good books. We didn't really track our systems. There wasn't the technology and the different software available now in the fitness industry to track that. And that was a mistake. And it actually cost me thousands of dollars. May I say, and I might cry, tens of thousands of dollars, because there were dozens of clients that were way over their packages. And I mean, this is the early 2000s now, and the our old system I had just didn't work. And now I always surround myself with people that are stronger than me in areas that I don't necessarily enjoy, because I want to do what I'm best at. I would say, what are you BIW? What are you best in the world at? What are the 2 or 3 things that you're great at doing? Do those, and then do what you do best and hire the rest. So if you could do what you do best and hire the rest, whether it be a director of first impression, a receptionist at the front desk, whether it be a general manager, an operations director, a group exercise instructor, a personal trainer, maybe, you're not the best at those things. Find people that are better than you at those things, and then you can try to guide them with the vision of your company and give them feedback on it.
Todd, I want to talk to you some more about people and systems, because on your website, your mission statement says that you pledge to deliver the finest customer experience and fulfill the expressed and unexpressed wishes and needs of your clients. Now, you've got a large team, around 38 people, is that correct?
38, correct.
38. And so with that in mind, what systems do you have in place to ensure that you can always deliver on that promise?
Well, I think the important part, Chantel, is that we have systems. Yeah. In the beginning, I didn't have systems. And one of my mentors told me, Todd, you need to systemize Fitness Quest 10 like you want 500 more. And I told him, no way, I don't want 500 more. I want one. I want to survive, and I want to make it profitable on that. He said, it doesn't matter. I want you to build your business like you're going to replicate that and duplicate it 500 times. And I was a knucklehead back then. I didn't listen. And it ended up probably costing us some profitability early on in my career. Now we have systems for everything. Everything from when someone calls in on the phone, to giving a tour, to consultations, to the sales process, to onboarding process of new leadership or new staff members. Heck, systems are always growing. Not recently, but a couple years ago, we got broken into at Fitness Quest 10. Someone burglarized our business. Well, we didn't have a system. What happens when the alarm rings in the middle of the night and I'm out of town traveling? right? So we had to then even create systems for the unexpected, right? Like all of the things that happen. So no one loves to do systems, but remember, systems can save you time, energy, and money.
Do you find with that team of 38 that you have, are there certain people within your team that you delegate that responsibility to as far as like creating and maintaining and sustaining systems within the business?
We definitely empower many of our staff members to do, to not only develop some systems, but also to carry them through. I think one of the most important things and one of the hardest things that even I do, Chantel, is the communication and leadership of 38 people. So how do we take systems and a culture and a vision that I'm a visionary and I love thinking about how I could try to change the world. Like that stuff moves my juices. So how do we do this and take this and make sure it's executed down to every single person here? Like I want everyone, and what I always tell my teammates is like, listen, you never want anyone mad at you. You don't want anyone upset at you. So do everything you can possibly do as long as it's ethical, legal, and morally right, that you can make sure that a customer or member is happy. So whether I'm on the road or I'm here, it doesn't matter. They don't need me to give them authority to say, yes, you can or can't do that. That's our director of first impressions at the front desk. Those are our trainers, Pilates instructors, massage therapists, body workers, our physical therapists, chiropractors, and nutritionists. Every single person here has the opportunity to change someone's life. And that starts, from the vision, from the communication of vision, from team meetings, at least quarterly. We have team meetings as a whole. We have departmental meetings if it's just trainers or Pilates instructors, whatever. And then we have a leadership meeting every week. So the leadership people are the people that are executing, my general manager, my director of Todd Durkin Enterprises, the things that need to be communicated, because if that communication chain gets broken down, then there's an important cog in the wheel that gets lost. And the experience of the client, member, or customer isn't going to be the same.
Todd, you mentioned your travel, and no doubt you travel a lot. How do you find is the best way that you communicate with your team when you're on the road? What's the best form of communication to not only just communicate them in general, but also just to keep that level of motivation? Because to talk to you, you have such an energy, and to see you present and to see you train your clients and no doubt your staff, you have this incredible energy. How do you maintain that from a distance when that's necessary?
Well, we've got great teammates here. We really do. I don't worry about our team when I'm away. I think that starts from the vetting process. We have an internship program, and I believe 8 of our current trainers right now started as interns at Fitness Quest 10. They understand our culture before they even step into an employee role. So they get our culture, they get what we do and how we do it, and then we try to groom them. And I just think we have good people that care. One of the things I always say to trainers, and sometimes we get caught up in all the vernacular, is if you really want to make maximum impact, is care more. Truly care more about your clients and your members. And whether you do one-on-one training or you have 20 people in your class, or you have 50 people in your class, is how can you make every single person feel special? Now, that's not a gift that only certain people have. It's really thinking not just about you, but thinking about other people. I always say with them, what's in it for me? What's in it for me is if you can remember that every single client that comes to your door, that with them attitude is man, you got to change someone's life. And every one of us can change someone's life. It doesn't have to be me. So when I'm away, I empower you to do whatever it takes to make sure that this experience here is one that is a world-class experience. And that's what we do. And we do a pretty darn good job of executing, our tasks and our vision. And if nothing else, what I always say is, man, when people come in, they better feel an energy that's positive, that's vivacious, because I liken our gym, and hopefully many of the folks listening in to the podcast today, is likening your studio, gym, or club to a lighthouse. You want your lighthouse to be radiating out positive light into the universe. And if I am filled up from the early morning quiet time, and if my light is filled up, and I radiate that out to you, Chantel, and to you, your thousands of people, and anyone listening in to the podcast today, and someone else gets lit up with positivity, with energy, with enthusiasm, with passion, with purpose, with impact, then they're going to go out and impact their people. And that's what I love to do. And that's what I love to hear. That's the stories I love to hear about. So for me, even if I'm on the road, nothing says I can't leave a message in our email or our Facebook private group for our team, or I can't leave them an audio message. I can't drop them a text message. Like, just to let them know that I'm thinking about them and sending them energy and fire someone up today.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, you are an internationally recognized presenter, you're an author, and you've been recently named in the top 100 most influential people in health and fitness. A question that I know will be on the mind of a lot of our listeners is, what were the first steps that you took to start to build your personal brand?
So my first steps in building a personal brand, well, I'll preface it by saying before you build a personal brand, you better be darn good at what you do. And the old 10,000 hour rule is you got to grind, man. You got to be in the trenches. There's a lot of young people that think you get your certification, you spend a year and you become an expert. No, it takes a lot of time out there with human beings actually training them and doing your work in group X or sports performance, or with your athletes or with your kids or your grandmas or grandpas, whoever your little niche is. But once you find, like, okay, I want to expand my brand beyond my zip code. I want to get, a brand outside in my state, in my country, across the globe. Heck, you're in Australia right now. I'm in the U.S. And here we are talking via technology, right? That's an awesome thing. So I think the first thing that I did that was a game changer for me was I learned the importance of an email list. I went to a workshop by a gal named Allie Brown in 2006. Sometimes conferences and workshops happen to be at the worst time of your life. We were just expanding Fitness Quest 10. It was the worst time. I had a new baby coming. It was like so busy. And one of my mentors said, you know what, just go. Take the 2 days off. This conference, the only thing it was about an opt-in box on your website. And the opt-in box was derived to try to get people's emails by giving away good free content. Matter of fact, if you go to my website now, todddurkin.com, you'll see an opt-in box where I give away a free 30-day training program so that I can start to develop a relationship with you via email. That changed my business. I went from having 0 people on my list, because I never ever focused on that, including my current clients, to now having thousands and thousands of people on my list, both trainers and fit pros, as well as my own clients here, that I can communicate with in one email. I can communicate with people on anything I'm doing in my life. That really helped build my brand from the early start.
Yeah, that's a great answer and such good advice for everyone, regardless of what position you are within the industry. Now, we are live on my Facebook. We're live on your Facebook. So obviously social media plays a role in all of this. How important is the role of social media as far as your personal brand and the journey that you've taken so far?
Man, social is a very important part of evolving your personal brand. If you guys want to grow your personal brand, like, I didn't mention, I talked about my email list, but YouTube was a really important aspect even back then. I can't tell you how many people I get now that'll private message me, hey, I've been watching you on YouTube or your challenges for like 5 years or 7 years. I just got that yesterday of like, hey, I got some, I've been watching all your challenges. I've done like every challenge you've ever issued. I'm like, dude, that's a lot of challenges. But like, it shows you the power of social media, and it's here to stay. I mean, look at even this Facebook Live, that even though you're doing a podcast, we've got a Facebook Live going at the same time. It's amazing, the technology, that if you give great content and you really are trying to make a difference in people's lives, if you leverage it right, like I use a lot of Facebook and a lot of Instagram. Those are two aspects, but I also use blogs and YouTube and everything else to get my message out there. I think social media, although rapidly changing, you've got to choose one or two of your different avenues and be really good at that. There's so many ways now to weave it together. But I would invite anyone listening in that if you want to see what we're doing, just go to todddurkin.com, opt into my newsletter, and you'll see how we do it and what we do. And I'm always a fan of trying to, follow people that I want to emulate, and then almost, copy, so to speak, as far as what they're doing, their systems and strategies on that stuff. So that's what we do for social media. We have a lot of different aspects. If you want to evolve your personal brand, social media plays a very important role and will continue to, because of the evolution of technology and people wanting to grow their brands.
Todd, I've asked you a lot of questions today on your team and on leadership, on the business, and also on personal branding. But if you were interviewing yourself today, what's one question that you might ask that I haven't already asked you?
That's a deep question, Chantel. So you're asking me if I was interviewing me, what question would I ask me or ask anyone?
Correct. Ask you.
The one question I always love, and I actually shared this in a team meeting just the other day. I have these impact growth meetings with my team. And I ask them the question is, what is one thing that people should know about you, but probably don't? I think you find out a lot about someone that, people may judge me by what they see or hear on a podcast or see on a YouTube, but they don't understand always the human being behind what makes that person them. So that's a question I'd probably ask myself is, what's one thing people should know about you but probably don't?
So, Todd, what's one thing that people should know about you but they probably don't? You've got to share it now. This is how this works.
Now you're asking that question. All right, I see. What's one thing that someone should know about me but probably doesn't? Well, I'll share the answer I shared with my own team. And I don't know how much of my own teammates knew this, but I shared earlier on, I have 5 sisters. I'm the youngest of 8 kids. And I grew up on the East Coast in the U.S. in New Jersey. And we grew up rather poor. We didn't have a lot of money. My parents got divorced when I was young. I was on lunch tickets. And although I didn't really know I was poor at the time, we didn't have a lot. And I realized I set a foundation at a young age of being really hungry to try to be successful. And I didn't have a father figure early on. He came back in my life. But when I look at where I'm at now as a father, part of it is because of who I didn't have early on, and then my father coming back in my life and finding out how a father should be. And I share that in chapter 1 of my Wow book. But I also look at now and my relationship to money now on what it was when I was 5 years old when I didn't have anything, and how grateful I am. I talk about early on, and just when in the early mornings of when you're taking the gratitude time to be thankful for what you have. It's not so much what you have, it's what you give back. And I look at money now differently than I did at age 5. I look at money now as energy. And energy comes and energy goes. So if you're looking for more money, you need to attract more energy. And the more energy you get and the more energy you give back, then it's reciprocal. So my relationship with money was set at a very young age, coming from a poor family, being embarrassed to have to give lunch tickets to the lunch lady because we couldn't afford a $1.95 lunch, to now knowing that every time that there's a transaction of any level, like I am always very attuned to the energy that's behind that and what that means on that. So I don't know if a lot of people know my background like that, but coming from a youngest of 8 kids in a poor family, and that's what made me at a young age, and makes me why I still am hardworking and always will be hardworking, because it's in my DNA. It's in my roots of where I grew up and how I grew up, and the community I grew up on is a very blue collar community, and I love that. That's me. That's who I am.
Todd, thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks for asking.
Thank you for sharing something so personal. We really do appreciate it. Now, we like to finish off the Fitness Business podcast by asking our guest for some Fitbizpiration. And what I'm hoping you'll share with us today is your top 3 tips on growing your personal brand. Let the industry leader in club management software and payment processing help you run your business more effectively and efficiently. Request a demo at www.abcfinancial.com.
Top 3 tips on growing your personal brand. I'd say number 1, you have to create great content. I mean, that's the most important thing, is you have to create great content. And whether you choose to do that via blog, and it doesn't need to be long, 300 words is fine if there's great content, or you do YouTube, you do a video, you do a Facebook Live, create great content that's compelling. Content that people want to hear, and ask your people. Like, I love going on Facebook Live and asking, hey, what do you want to hear more about? You want to hear more nutrition? You want to see me train my athletes more? What do you want more of? And when I get feedback, then I can deliver what they want. So that's number 2, I would say, as far as my second piece of wisdom is I'd say engage with your fans, followers, and friends. Engage them, and so when they do reciprocate and communicate on any form of social media that you have, is to make sure that you engage with them and connect with them and respond to them. Let them know that you really are a human being that has a busy life but is responding to them or have some help. But if you can engage with them, I think that shows that you care. It shows that there's a live human being behind there. It's also from an edge rank in Facebook. It helps like your edge rank. It helps some of the rankings. So when there's actually that reciprocal action going on there, it'll help your social media. And then the last thing, as far as really trying to develop your social media and develop your personal brand to another level, I would just say it's really important to be real, to be authentic. Like, you don't have to be someone that you're not. And sometimes a trainer will ask me, hey, can you critique this video? I'm like, dude, loosen up. You're too tight. It's okay if you make a mistake. Be you. You're a funny person in real life, so be funny on camera. If you're intense, be intense. If you're soft-spoken, be soft-spoken, but try to have voice inflections. Just be real and be authentic and be you. And when you are you, people will love you for who you are. And if they don't love you, they don't resonate with you, that's okay. And you're going to have haters. Like, people aren't always going to love what you say. But like I learned in my life is, like, if you don't have haters, you're not going out and being audacious enough. You're not going out there and really sharing yourself enough, because when you start to have haters, then you know you made it. So be real, be authentic, get out there and make sure that you just share from your heart of who you really are. And don't be afraid of who you are. It's good to be different.
Todd, that is such great advice. You know what? It is an absolute pleasure and a privilege to have you as a guest on the Fitness Business Podcast. So thank you for coming on today. Thank you so much for sharing your energy. Somehow, I think we managed to make all of this technology work. So thank you so much for joining us on the show.
I love it. Well, thank you for having me, Chantel. It's been great. Thank you for what you're doing across the globe, and great questions. You made me think hard about a lot of these things, about just the fitness business and some of the things that we can really heed attention to make sure that we can deliver the maximum impact. And one other thing I'd say is, remember to run your own race, trainers, fit pros. Like, don't try to be anyone else but you. You can learn from people like Chantel, like myself, or anyone else that you may try to emulate. But be you. Like, sometimes I think, I want to be you. You don't want to be me. You don't want to be anyone else. Like, be you and be the best version of yourself, and use your life lessons to make that special. So I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and everything I do now is a product of everything that's always happened, and that's fantastic. But just remember that each and every one of you is special, and you have a gift. But it's your responsibility to go deep inside of yourself and to tap into that spirit and that strength that is within you, and to make sure that you can unfold it and unleash it to be the positive light that you need to be in your community.
Thank you so much, Todd. It's just such a privilege to have met you and to have you on the show. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Chantel. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
How amazing was Todd? It was brilliant having him on the show. And if you want to check out his websites and the links that he mentioned, plus the Facebook Live video of the interview, you can find them all in this week's show notes. Now, in the spirit of continuing the celebrations for our 100th show, I was also joined this week by another member of the FBP family. Take a listen. I am so excited to welcome back to the show Emmett Williams, the president of MyZone. Welcome back, Emmett.
Thanks, Chantel, and thanks for having me, and congratulations on reaching your 100th show. That's massive.
It is pretty massive, and I got to tell you, we are completely over the moon. I'm actually feeling incredibly grateful for all of the support that we've had from the industry and from our guests like yourself, and of course our podcast partners.
Well, look, as you know, I've been a long-term listener of the show. I started a good 2 years ago now. And have loved listening to the content as I've run along the beach on my Saturday mornings. But I'm here today to announce that we're going to take it one step further, and we're going to become, at MyZone, partners in the Fitness Business Podcast.
Emmett, that is sensational news. In fact, I cannot think of a better way to celebrate 100 shows. Thank you so much.
Hey, look, no worries at all. Look, the team and I at MyZone have always thought that the show has been a great resource for education, for inspiration and leadership. And in many ways, the clubs that do well with MyZone, which of course is a wearable technology, are clubs that are thinkers. They have to be critical about the way they're approaching business. They look at the opportunities, they consider the threats. And in many ways, your listeners or your subscribers are self-selecting in that you don't press play unless you want to challenge yourself and you want to get better. So your audience and our cutting-edge product, it's just a really good marriage, and we couldn't be happier to be partners with you guys.
Well, Emmett, I think I'm a huge fan of MyZone myself, so this is a double win, and I'm so thrilled to have you as a partner on the Fitness Business Podcast. So thank you so much for coming on today and sharing that fantastic news on our 100th show.
Well, look, thank you very much for having me, and good luck with the next 100.
Thank you so much. That's all for this week's show, but before I sign off today, I want to finish off show 100 by saying a huge thank you to all of the guests that have given their time to share their knowledge over the past 2 years. Thank you also to our podcast partners, Active Management, Tribe Team Training, Precor, ABC Financial, One Fit Stop, Rex Roundtables, and now, of course, MyZone for your support and for making it possible for us to deliver the show each week. Thank you to every single one of you who are listening. You guys are the FBP family. You are the reason that the Fitness Business Podcast exists. So thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing the show. And one last huge thank you to the team behind the scenes. You honestly would not believe the amount of work it takes to produce a show every single week. And we have the best team around. So thank you so much to JT, Alicia, Harper, and Sharon. All of you have been instrumental in supporting me each week, and I am so grateful for everything that you do. That is it for show 100. Make sure you tune in next week. And until then, remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded, and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget, all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.